Hi, I'm Josh. I'm a multidisciplinary artist as well as an art psychotherapist, and I identify as a third culture kid, or TCK. Yeah, so the project that I'm working on here at HEARTH is called Loss in Transition, and it's just thinking about the ideas of loss and liminality when you're in between things. And I think that's quite a familiar theme for third culture kids, people who grew up in one culture but they're actually born in another culture, and they have to sort of form their own personal mix of the two, of many different things that they've experienced. And I think that ties in really well into recycling paper, which is what I've been doing, because each piece here is a mix of many things. It's not just one thing, and they use very specific things from my life. So coming back into my old childhood room, I came across, boxes of all my old school things, all my textbooks, and it just felt like it needed to be turned into something else. And so I choose quite specific time periods, blend them together and make them into new paper. And I think there's something quite poetic there about taking something that is old, something that you want to throw away, something that you want to let go of, but turning into something new. It's been really interesting to have the interactive element in this program. At first I was thinking of just making by myself, but I've been thinking about the concept of grief, and among us psychotherapists we've been talking about how COVID has been a time of collective grieving. There's been a lot of things that we've lost, but we might not actually have noticed it. So I was thinking about the idea that grief needs to be witnessed. Grief needs community. It's when we hold it in and we don't talk about it, then that compounds and it becomes compounded grief, and that can be a lot harder to deal with. And so I kind of thought this was a great opportunity to bring other people in and for them to witness me and for them to witness them. And that happens a lot in the art psychotherapy room. And I'm very careful that this is not art psychotherapy, but it is working therapeutically with art. And just the idea of them bringing their stories in and then me sharing my story, and there's something greater that gets created in that, just over the artwork itself, and that's a connection that we have. So it's been fascinating actually what people have been bringing in. I've invited them to bring in things to add to the paper. So there was one man who brought in his primary school certificates, and I was taken aback, and I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He said, "Yeah, I want to let go of these things. These are not things I'm ever going to show my boss. They make you feel proud as a kid, but now that I'm an adult, I don't need these anymore." And he said, there's something there about me letting go of that. And what's been really interesting is every single session, people have brought in ideas of loss, and it's loss of so many different kinds, whether it's moving country, whether it's loss of a friend, and there's still that commonality. And I think loss is something that is common to all of us. And I'm sort of using my TCK experience as like a little microcosm of exploring that loss. Yeah. The reason I applied for HEARTH was I just happened to be on Instagram and I saw a post by Art Outreach. So I used to work really close by, so I've always been following Art Outreach on social media, and I thought, hey, why not? Let's just apply for something. And one of the reasons for that was I've just moved from overseas back into Singapore. I was really struggling with the transition, and I kind of wanted a space to be able to make. It is so different to make it at home because you're limited by the size of your room or what you have there. So I think it's just been incredible to have a space of my own. And I think as an art psychotherapist, we talk a lot about safe spaces and creating safe spaces. And in transitions, that's so important to have that.